You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
Hey guys, this week we're going to talk about being a self-starter and not waiting for anyone to tell you what to do or how to do it. So stick around.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show.
Hey guys.
Hey. For the second time, for y'all people on Facebook Live.
I forgot we were on
right?
Facebook.
So welcome back to the show. It's Thursday. It's rainy Thursday. We're here. The Breezy Moms podcast is coming to you live via Facebook Live, of course, and on Digital Stream Radio for the second time.
I forgot we were even on Facebook Live because the feedback is not on the TV. But anyway, thanks for joining us on Facebook and here on the show for tuning in every week. You can find us on all the places, wherever you stream your show.
I was oh my God, I cannot.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you caught it.
And anyway, so we were originally, during our original opener, talking about you visiting a sister podcast.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
All right, so let's do it again. So I was saying that I felt a little flustered because I've already recorded this week because I had the pleasure of being on Cinema Therapy that's hosted by Nicole, my sister-in-law, and her co-host Karen. And it was super cool to be on the opposite side of the table, to be the invited interviewee. The guest.
Yeah.
It was exciting to be the guest. It's a different perspective. And so, anyway, so I was just saying that because I've already recorded once this week, it felt like this came really quickly. But I'm really glad that I had the chance to be on that show. And I didn't know. So anyway, it's episode 19 and it's called Fuck, I'm Old. And I was like, hey, you guys didn't tell me that's what it was going to be called when you asked me to come on and talk about being in your 30s. Like,
seriously.
It feels like a bamboozle. But it was a really fun time. Both of them are fresh. Actually, I think Karen has been 30 for a little while. She's a couple of months older. And Nicole is turning 30. I think it's tomorrow.
That's awesome. Well, happy birthday, baby girl.
Happy birthday, Nicole. So you can find Nicole and Karen's show, Cinema Therapy, is a part of the Digital Stream Radio family.
That's right.
And so you can find them on Digital Stream Radio and
just go to our website, click on, DSR podcast, and every podcast that we produce on our network, including Candace's, Cinema Therapy, Gay Talk 2.0, they all show up.
That's fantastic.
And you can play them on demand.
I love it. So, girls, thanks so much for having me on the show, and check them out. They're on Facebook at Cinema Therapy Show. And you can find them on iTunes and some other places. So
oh my God, I think I'm going to have to reach out to them and be like, I want to be on your show.
You should. They're a riot. They're hilarious. I love it.
But I will give them two movies that they have to sort of kind of review. And that would be To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, and The Birdcage.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Classic
those are good
movies.
ones.
They're doing a 20-year anniversary release of To Wong Fu.
Oh, cool.
With deleted scenes and stuff. And,
Nice.
you'll see Patrick Swayze.
I know. I just was thinking about that.
Yeah.
And same thing with, is that man in the Birdcage movie, Robin Williams?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is him.
Yep. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane. And then in To Wong Fu, you had
Patrick Swayze and
John Leguizamo, and you had Wesley Snipes. It was incredible.
And there's another one in The Birdcage. Who's the houseboy in The Birdcage?
He's well, we call him Agador Spartacus.
Yes. What's his real name?
Oh, God, I can't remember his real name.
But he's amazing. I like him.
That's awesome.
Those are good movies.
So anyway, welcome to the show. I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
It's time. How are your amazing boys?
The boys are good. The boys are really good. They're really amazing. And
emphasis on amazing.
Emphasis on amazing. So Lincoln, I talk a lot about how big Lincoln is because it's just really astounding every time I see him. I feel like every day he comes home from school, he looks bigger. And in March, when we had his 5-year checkup at the doctor, he was 52 pounds.
Wow.
And now 3 months later, is it even 3 months? It's like 2 months later, he's 56 pounds. And he's not chubby. He's not there's not like anything that you can pinch on his body. He's just solid as a rock.
So he's basically having a growth spurt.
He's having a growth spurt like no other. And he's a baby. Like 5 years old is still actually a baby.
He's still a baby.
So he wants to come and I give him a hug and he wants to pick up his feet off the ground and just like hang on my neck. And I'm like, dude, you're going to break me. I cannot physically hold you. And that's when I thought he was 52 pounds. Now he's closer to 60 pounds at 5 years old. He's 56 pounds and 4 feet tall. Like
he's very, very
Kima's
tall.
5 feet tall. Like it's insane. It's insane. So I'm trying to remind myself to enjoy every bit and quirk and annoying thing about him because it's just going really, really fast.
And
really,
next,
really
you'll have a palm tree walking right by you, and you'll be like, "Oh, can I use you as shade?"
Please, please. And I'm more concerned about how we're gonna feed them because even Emory is a bottomless pit right now. Just every time I turn around, he is asking for something to eat, and I'm like, dude, the kitchen is closed. I'm confident that I have fed you enough food. Please go away. And he's just like, oh, I want cheese. Oh, today he wanted cream, like whipped cream. Oh, but he doesn't eat bread. I think he's hungry because he won't eat any bread or.
Well, that's a good thing.
No, lots of kids like carbs. They like French fries. They like grilled cheese sandwich. Like they like bread.
But if he's developing a sense of not wanting to or not craving processed food, that's amazing.
I guess, but it's painful as his mother.
Well, I can imagine. Give him a lot of broccoli, right?
He's not eating that. He wants chicken. He wants beef. He eats like
he's a carnivore.
He eats like light soup. Oh my God! I'm like, who? He eats goat soup and lamb soup. Like, listen, we can't eat like that every day. I can't. He's a little old man. I can't even handle it. And right now, he's like a bottomless pit. So,
do they like stews?
Emory does. Emory does. Lincoln doesn't. Lincoln is not into sauce right now.
Gotcha.
He likes the things kind of like dry and separate. And then Emory just wants to eat the meat. So today he ate chicken and oranges.
Huh.
Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Well, hey, listen.
And that's why he's burning it off so quickly because it's like fruit and protein. I can't. Listen, eat a French fry and go to sleep. I can't even handle it. And then, my other thing that I wanted to share this week about Lincoln that I just had to laugh, and I think I shared it. I'm not sure if I shared it online, but the other night, James was trying to put them to sleep and was struggling with them, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was in bed trying to mind my business and get some downtime. And then here comes Lincoln. He comes into the room and he's crying. He's like snot-nosed crying and he's starting to crawl under the blanket. And so I looked at him and I was like, first of all, stop all that crying and go and wash your face. And he looked at me and he was like sniffling and then he went to wash his face. And then when he came back, he didn't come back into my room. He went into his room. And I was like, good, you don't want none of this because you know that us talking to like a whole long conversation about why it's important to go to bed, why it's important not to be screaming like this, why it's important not to scream to daddy. And he was just like, I don't want to hear any of that. He just turned around and he left. And I died. Like I was laughing so hard, enjoying like a real deep, fulfilling, cleansing laugh that just the thought of hearing me explain to him why it was important for him to go to bed was enough for him to just go to bed.
That's good though, because I mean, at least he got the point.
Yeah.
Right?
No, he was gone. He didn't come back and they went to sleep. So I just think that it's hilarious because now I do that to him often. As soon as he starts to, and his eyes, he goes, and he starts to walk away from me backwards. And sometimes that upsets me, but other times I'm like, okay, good. Then we don't have to finish this conversation. Go about your business. And so now I'm using it as a tactic against him, and he's not really aware of it yet. He's not quite aware that I enjoy when he walks away and then I don't have to finish it.
So, and then what happens when he realizes that it's the tactic and he catches on?
Oh, then I have to try something else. That's what being a parent is, right? It's like always evolving. You use something until it doesn't work anymore.
Well, hey,
that's my plan.
Beat it like a dead horse, and then move on to something else. I don't mean beat the kids. Let me just
some of those things don't sound right when you're talking about the kids.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying beat the tactic.
Yes. It's not even beating like a dead horse. It's just using it using it for as long as it serves you, whatever the thing is. That's the only way that I understand right now how to get through this parenting stuff, because they are always developing, right? Especially at this age, they're developing at such a rapid rate that by the time you figure something out with them, they're now in a new stage.
Yeah.
So you really just have to, you can't rest on the fact that this works now, because next week it's not going to work. Or in terms of eating, sometimes you find something that they want to eat, and then that's the only thing that they eat. And you reinforce that by making it for them all the time. And then 3 days later, they're like, oh, I don't like bananas. You're like, but you ate 50 yesterday. You're like, yes, that's why I don't like bananas anymore. So you just got to roll with it while it works.
Well, I mean, my mom had a specific tactic, and it was, I'm going to cook. I'm going to put it on the table. You can eat it if you want to. If you don't, you will go to bed hungry.
Right.
And there was none of this, but there's that in the kitchen, or there's that in the cupboard, or there's that in the fridge, and I want that instead. No, you're going to eat what I put down for you. And she was very strict about that. But in the end, I think that we ended up really acquiring a taste for many different kinds of things that she would make, and really learned that, what mom was cooking was what was for dinner.
Right.
And if you didn't like it, you had to sort of kind of deal with it.
Go to sleep hungry
and
try again for breakfast.
Yeah. And that was it, but mom has always been one that, she was always very adamant of having a hot breakfast. Very seldom did we get cereal in the morning. It was always like, boiled eggs and like farina, which is
like grits or oats.
Like grits, yeah. And
like a cream of wheat.
Yeah. And we used to do a lot of oatmeal for breakfast and pancakes and stuff, because my mother loves being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But you definitely had to eat what she cooked. Yeah, and that was it.
I do find myself like circling at the end of dinner when they haven't eaten, because you're trying to make sure that they get something. And just recently, I've just decided if they're hungry, they'll eat. And if it means that they just drink a big glass of milk, then that's all they want. And sometimes it's our fault because we allow them to eat too many sweets. And that is just because you don't want to hear Lincoln ask for a brownie over and over and over and over again. So you're just like, here, fine, have the brownie. So if we give them too many sweets, then they've actually eaten all night, and then they don't want the plate of food that you put in front of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying not to stress myself out about anything these days, because
Breezy.
And be breezy about it. And sometimes I lose my whole shit because for something, so like I might not get really upset about the food situation, but I might get I might spark off of something else. So I'm just trying to even out for all of the things, because I think Lincoln the other day, he spilled, they were playing with these sticky hands that I bought them, and Emory had eaten a whole plate of oranges.
Emphasis on she bought for
I
them.
bought it for them, and they like it, and I love it because it keeps them. And this is like a $2 sticky hand from 1986. Those things that you throw and it sticks to the wall, and they just love it. And so Emory did it, and it stuck onto the plate with the orange rinds, and then he pulled it off, and the orange rinds went flying. And it's on camera. I think James was recording me, and I go, ah! What did you say, James? And I just tried to like totally swallow it, because I was just like, at the end of the day, it's just oranges. He already ate. It's basically just the orange rinds. It's going to be okay. And James is going to clean it. I'm just going to turn around and walk away. I am going to protect my peace at all costs. I'm not going to flip out over this. But literally, it's on video. And when I saw the playback, I was like, good job, Candace. It's like a fucking slow clap, because I really was about to lose it over this plate of orange rinds flying all over the kitchen. And then I just decided, listen, I don't want to do that anymore. It's not worth the heart palpitations. It's like not worth it.
So I have a question for you. So when this happens, like let's say, for example, they spill something, do you ask them to pick it up? Do they help you, or?
So it depends on what it is. And okay. I don't want to say supposed to, but it is good practice to get them to help clean up things, because it's a cause and effect sort of situation. But sometimes as parents, that their cleanup is actually going to make a bigger mess. So if it's something liquid, like Lincoln just spilled milk this morning, I think it was, or last night. And so as the milk is flowing down the living room floor, he's coming from the back, which means he's just going to push it further. You know what I mean? And so at that point, I'm just like, listen, I'm going to do it. And we're just going to have to, like, I'm just going to do it. And please don't do this again. But also, I take this point to, like, I've turned into my mom. Like, I've definitely turned into my mom, where I'm just like, listen, this is why we have a rule of eating in the kitchen. Because when I allow you to bring your thing into the living room, it always spills. Whatever it is. The crumbs from your mouth are on the floor. The waffles, I don't know why they're pieces of waffles on the floor, but they're on the floor. The milk, the water, I just found, no fucking lie, I just found grape skins in the fireplace, okay? Like on the back side of the fireplace gate.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is we're giving Emory a bowl of grapes, and he is eating them, chewing up the grape on the inside, and then when the red grape skin is too thick, he's tossing it over the grate into the fireplace. Okay. We don't even run a fire. It's not even like, oh, it's going to burn up in the fire. No. So I just walked by and I was like, what are these black dots on the fireplace? It's like 100 grape skins all inside of the fireplace. And I just wanted to kill myself. Like, I just wanted to end it all right there. I was like, how long has this been here? When did this start? What is happening? Did we not know?
I have so many questions.
So many questions. Like, it was like 100 grape skins. Okay. It was so many grape skins. He's been doing it for a while. So I tried to hold myself together, but it's like, I am the only one in the house who's worried about ants. And I'm so worried about ants because once they get in, you cannot get, like, it's so hard to get them out. You know what I mean? Like, you could wipe the floor with Clorox. They just find another way. They're like worker bees, right? They're worker ants or whatever the hell you call them.
I mean, you can spray them with chemicals, but who really wants to spray those kind of
So that's what I end up
house?
doing. And I'm like, listen, it's your fault. So breathe in the chemicals.
I love it. I love it. So it's been a long week. We've had some this past weekend was Memorial Day. So shout out.
Which is really good for us. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The shout out to the people who serve the country.
And of course, you know, those that have passed it while in service, which was the whole purpose of Memorial Day to begin with.
Right, not the barbecues.
And I mean, you still have your barbecues. You take advantage of the fact that you have a day off, but just, you know, take a moment to reflect and understand why we have that day off.
True.
But it was a gorgeous weekend.
It was. It really was.
Did you guys do anything
So
fun?
we went to Massachusetts and spent the weekend with my in-laws, and my sister-in-law came from California. And the baby just is turning 1, I think, next week.
Aww.
So she did a birthday party for him in Massachusetts when the whole family was around. That was really cool. And I hadn't seen him since October, I think, at Nicole's wedding, David and Nicole's wedding. And he's walking and he's making this like crazy high-pitched squealing sound that I didn't even realize was coming from him. And so it's super cute. After a while, it's like gets into the back of your brain, but it's super cute. And he's running around and he gives like the best side eyes. And he just walks around like he owns the place. And I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
And it's just fun to see. Now they're basically all of the grandchildren are boys. So it's just a bunch of boys running around the house. And she had her goddaughters came over. So it's one goddaughter came over, but basically it's just a bunch of little boys running around the house. And she got a bouncy house and put it at her, my in-laws' house. So it was
That's
the perfect thing, perfect thing, because otherwise it's really an adult party, right? It's a chance for the adult family to get together and celebrate the baby. I think there were 5 kids and they're all related. So it was nice to have the bouncy house because it wasn't really a kid party. You know what I mean?
Well, but that also gives an opportunity for the kids to go into the bouncy house.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And they get preoccupied.
That's exactly what I mean. Because
you get a break.
Because it wasn't really a kids party. There weren't like crafts set up or, you know what I mean? There weren't things for the kids to do. So without the bouncy house, they might have just been sitting around watching adults talk. You know what I mean? So it was a really great idea and super simple. I don't know who she used, but super simple for them to deliver it. And we blew it up. You plug it into the wall. It stays low. Except, of course, Emory was the one. They were trying to figure out why it kept deflating, and they thought it was defective until they realized that Emory was in the back turning on and off the button because he was having like a serious God complex, because when he turned it off, it would start deflating immediately. Like the top of the castle would start falling in. Yeah. And then when he turns it back on, it would start going back up. And he thought he was,
he's kind of a little genius, that one.
He really is. So the weekend was really good. What'd you do for the weekend?
I actually, Friday I stayed home. Mm-hmm. Saturday I took advantage of the fact that it was a gorgeous day. I did some planting and stuff like that. I put out flowers and cut the lawn and everything. And then I went shopping. And then Sunday, I met up with one of my co-hosts on the other show, and we had lunch, and then we came back to the house and just hung out until it was time to go to work. And then the bar was super busy.
Of course.
Because everybody, of course, if you're off Monday, everyone's coming out. And so karaoke was completely slammed. I had 37 singers on my roster.
Wow.
And literally 20 minutes before closing, I got back to the top of my rotation, which means that someone got to sing, or a couple of people got to sing a second time.
Oh my God.
And that was it. And it's usually never that busy. Like I can usually get people to sing at least twice, 3 times if it's really quick.
Right.
But the issue is that sometimes when people like want to sing, they'll pick these super long songs like Queen, for example,
that
makes like a 6-minute,
it's their moment to shine.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. And so, but that's sort of kind of like what kind of night it was. It's like someone sang Bad Out of Hell by Meatloaf, and that's like another 6-minute song. And then somebody decided that they wanted to do, what's the other one that Celine Dion, which was produced.
I was just going to say Celine Dion.
It was produced by the same producer and sounds very similar to something that Meatloaf would do.
I don't know. It's all coming back to me.
It's all coming back to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the one.
I really like Celine Dion. I used to have all of her albums, like the Physical Circle albums. I used to have all of them.
So it was
the French ones. Yeah. Even the French ones.
Oh, I love Celine. Celine's got an amazing voice. But karaoke was lit. And I'll tell you something. So we're not too far away from the Yale Cabaret Theater or the Yale School of Drama. So when we get people that come in, I mean, they're using my karaoke system for practice.
Oh, that's great.
And they're amazing. And so we get a lot of really good singers. And but there's one young lady that comes in and fruit flies, probably from all the alcohol bottles that are laying around somewhere. There's this one young lady that she comes in and she'll do a Celine Dion song and she will kill it. I mean, people are just sitting at the bar like,
right, who's going next?
Are you even singing?
Oh, that's amazing.
And, but it was overall was good. And then Monday, we just hung out here. Everybody got here like around 11 and we started drinking and grilling. And by the time showtime came around, we were smashed. We couldn't open the show. We couldn't get past the opener. It was a hot mess, but we had a good time.
That's great. I'm just going to go back to the weekend for 1 second before we move into the show.
Go for it.
Because we're going into the summer hours, and I'm going to use this as one, an admission to like, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't always do everything properly. And 2, summertime and pool time is really a dangerous time and you have to pay attention. So, honesty moment. I took the boy, we stayed in a hotel one night over the weekend, and we picked this hotel because it has a pool. And James had some work to do, so I said I would take the kids to the pool. We got to the pool, and we're literally on the stair. The nice thing is that they have a walk-in, the stairs, like 4 or 5 stairs, and then you get into the pool. And it's still only like 3 feet high, right? So I'm sitting on the stairs. Lincoln has gone in, and Lincoln is 4 feet tall, so he's fine. And I'm sitting on the stairs with Emory, trying to get on his goggles. I get on his goggles, and I said to him, okay, let's go. And I took my hands to put on the stair so I could stand down, and he walked off of the stair. So like in the seconds, like he was just like, boom, going, like, because he's so excited about the pool, but he has no concept about what happens in the pool. And he was just on solid ground. So he literally just walked forward. And in the time it takes when you're in the pool, if you do the regular momentum, which is you have to lean back to move forward, the water takes you further back, right? And so in that moment, he just went right under the water, and I was trying to get him from like literally half an inch away from him, and it took maybe 2 whole seconds for me to get him, and he was flailing. And so he went all the way underwater, and when I got him back up, he was so scared that then he wouldn't go off of the stairs, where 2 seconds before he was like, oh, pool, I love the pool, and he just was about to walk in. And it was just like, it was so scary for me, because it wasn't that I was looking at my phone or I was like talking to somebody or not paying attention in any way. It literally was just because I let go of him for 1 second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just such a scary, scary thing. And so I had to like grab him up because he fell. And then in that moment, I was flailing, trying to reach forward to him. So I get him out, and now he refuses to go anywhere in the water. So he basically sat on the stairs for the whole rest of the time.
That traumatized him.
A couple times he let me take him, and I was holding him, but he wouldn't let me take him away from my body to like pretend to swim. He was just like, no, mommy, no, we're not doing that. And I said, okay, it's too soon. Like I get it. So that was Emory when we first got into the pool. Then everything is going fine. I'm holding Emory. Everybody's fine. And he had let me at this point take him into the pool, and I'm walking with him. And Lincoln also is walking in the pool because it's only 3 feet high and he's 4 feet tall. So everything is fine. And then Lincoln started to show off because he's swimming, right? He's getting really good at swimming. Or I should say he is really good at swimming, given that he hasn't been in a pool for a year and a half, right? So he can swim a little bit, and then he puts his feet down, he gets a breath, and then he keeps swimming again. He did a flip in the water. Standing right next to me, he did a flip in the water, and it turned him around so that then he was facing towards the deep end. And again, I was standing right next to him. And in the moment that he flipped over, when he stood up, he was now at the line where it's like 4.5 feet. Right. Mm-hmm. And so again, I'm trying to lean to reach out to him, but the momentum you need means that you have to move back in order to lean forward. Mm-hmm. And so I'm holding on to Emory, and I'm trying to reach him, and the water is keeping me, and he's literally like 2 inches away from me. And again, he's flailing because now he doesn't know where the floor is. And I was just like, maybe I can't be in the pool by myself. Like, it's just. But it's so fucking important to keep them right next to you. And it's so hard because I want to give him some space. He was doing so well. Everything was going so well. But in the blink of a fucking eye, it just like goes south, and you just can't. It's insane. And I'm having some like heart palpitations thinking back on it. And he was fine, and I was able to get him, and it turned out fine. But it's just a public service announcement that as we're moving into the summer months where we're going to be in the pool, you're going to have access to water and all of those things, like keep a close eye on your kids. Mm-hmm. Even if we want to be like fucking free range parents or whatever, we can't be so free that they drown. So
no, of
just
course.
Be careful.
And there's
just
a lot of dangers. I mean, especially people that own pools. If you own a pool,
especially owning the pool,
make sure that you know where your kid's at 24/7, because your child can say, "Oh, mommy, I'm going to go play outside," and next thing you know it, he's in the water. Yeah. And because kids don't think that, they don't learn to correlate with, I need to make sure that I have an adult with me if I'm going to be in the water, even if you tell them that that's what they need to do, right? And so they just do things,
Yeah.
If a ball falls in the pool,
they're just going to go get it.
They're going to try to go get it. And they'll be like, oh, well, I swam right when I was with mom.
Right, when mom was holding me.
I can do this. And so, and then, when you have toddlers and stuff, they don't know any better. They can climb steps and they can fall over. And next thing you know it, you have an issue.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. It's one of those things, it's like, generally you keep those things close to your chest because, like, I'm a terrible parent. My kids almost died right in front of me. But I just say it out loud to say that it can happen in the blink of an eye. And thankfully, nothing happened to them except a little bit of a scare. And after Lincoln recovered, then he was back in the water. I couldn't keep him out of the water. Yeah. But then he was very certain to stay closer to the 3 foot
he wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I can feel the floor here.
Yeah, I can feel
this
it.
This is safe.
Yeah. So
cool.
anyway, just be careful. The beach, the pool, all of the things. Just be careful. Really careful.
All right. So you had mentioned that we were going to be talking about something today.
So I wanted to talk this week about being a self-starter and not waiting for people to tell you how to do things. I think it's a continuation of last week where we were talking about how important your self-talk is and how important it is to treat yourself like you would treat a best friend. But I just find that a lot of times until this morning or yesterday or last week or whenever I think that I stopped doing this, I always thought that other people knew how to do it better, whether that's momming or wifing or business or assisting, like whatever the thing is. I thought, oh, there are people out there, they know how to do it. And if I just ask the right person, they'll tell me how to do it and then I can be better. And then I can do it. And I realize now after a few conversations and just the last couple weeks that everybody is trying to figure this shit out. There are some manuals, but generally there are no manuals and everybody is expected to just figure it out. And while you're waiting for someone to explain something to you, they are trying to figure something out for themselves. Like they're looking for someone to explain something to them. So I'll give you an example. I think about the business that I've started and I am trying to grow it. I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that people know that my business exists. And I keep looking for other people like, oh, you've been doing this for a long time. Tell me about what you're doing. And they have some really good, they have been doing it for a long time, but when I talk to them, they're not telling me anything brand new, right? Yeah. It's not some aha moment that's like, oh, that's what's going to take me over the edge. And so I've just realized after these last couple weeks where like a lot of stuff has been going on in our house, we got solar panels. I told you last week. Today we got a rain garden installed, which was an incredible opportunity that just sort of fell in my. Didn't fall. Let's take
a rain garden.
A rain garden. It didn't fall in my lap. I came across some people installing it and I was like, ooh, what are you doing? And then it turned out to be a free program that they're offering in New Haven. So a rain garden is a garden with it's a depressed garden where the intention is to collect water. It says on Wikipedia, it says from impervious urban areas. It's like, that is such a fancy way of saying roof or parking lot or
I know exactly what you're saying.
Whatever. It is supposed to take the rainwater that would fall on your roof in my situation and divert it from the sewer system, which then diverts it from the natural body of water which is nearby, which is the sound, right? So they're
popping up all over the city.
Right. So there's an organization in New Haven called Save the Sound, and their purpose is to save the sound, right, which is our natural body of water, and they are doing that in two ways. One, for the city, they are installing something called a bioswell, which is on the sidewalk, on the green part of the sidewalk next to the street. You have a picture?
We have one right in front of the bar.
Yes. So they're installing this thing where they're making a garden. It's like a cute little garden. But the intention of it is that where it's right, I think it's right before a sewer. Is that what it's called? A sewer thing? So that all of the rainwater gets diverted into that garden instead of going into the sewer system. Because when there's a heavy rain, it like overdoes the sewer system, which already has like sewer water in it, which then means that all of that excess goes into the sound or whatever the natural body of water is.
And the concept is amazing, but the only issue I have with it, that it becomes a trash place for everything.
Yeah.
For bags and leaves in the fall.
Collecting a lot of stuff.
And cigarette butts, especially in front of a bar.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
In concept, it's right, because the water comes down the edge of the road, and then there's
they
a
cut
depression.
A hole in the sidewalk.
And then literally it just goes in there. And it's not a lot of water, but it helps. And if you have, I would say, 50 of these within one neighborhood.
So they're 80 in New Haven. There are 80 of them in New Haven. And so that's what they're doing for the city. And then on the resident side, they are installing them in your yard somewhere near the downspout for your house. And then based on where it is, they'll then divert your gutter from your house into the garden.
Yeah.
So that then all that roof water, instead of going into the sewer, is going into the garden. So, because that nonprofit is trying to save the sound, they have a grant to do this around town, and I saw them doing it for my neighbor, and I was like, ooh, I want one of those. And so a month later, they just this morning, and they did all of the digging and they placed all the plants. Tomorrow they're actually going to dig the holes for the plants.
Mm-hmm.
But she made this incredible thing, knowing that I have a daycare and I have lots of kids. She made this incredible thing that's almost 12 feet across with a walking path in the middle. So, and then she's planted some really cool plants. I don't even know any of the names of them, but she's planted all of these plants so that, like, I'm thinking about it as a sensory garden or like a hiding spot now, because most of my backyard is flat and then the jungle gym kind of things. But this will be a natural, like a nature space in the middle of my yard for kids to go and play and smell plants. And I know I'm going to have to fight with Emory to stop pulling all the flowers off, but that's a conversation that's worth having. So I'm super excited about it. And it is why was I telling the story? I was telling the story because it is a random thing that I found that is not only going to help my home and my family, but is also going to do really well for my business. Like, it's a really cool feature of our backyard. And nobody else would have been able to tell me, oh, you should probably look into some cool nature things from your backyard. Oh, by the way, Save the Sound is doing it. You know what I mean? You just have to have your eyes open and be looking for things for yourself, right?
I wonder if they're doing this program here in my city. Maybe I can look into it and see.
Yeah, so you can. So Save the Sound right now is focused on New Haven, is focused on the West River, she said.
Okay.
So any of the neighborhoods where the sewer system is tied into the West River, that's where their focus is, but they are willing to expand because they're using the grant money to do this, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in Hamden, maybe close to New Haven, or maybe West Haven if you're close to New Haven.
Well, I mean, I'm literally 5 minutes away from the beach, so there's water that just goes into that area.
It's a really cool program. And then the kicker was that, so you're supposed to provide some manpower, right? You're supposed to bring some people because they're bringing all the plants, and she did this cool design and all the stuff. So you're supposed to provide some labor. We were doing it in the middle of a work day. I was like, everybody I know is working. I don't know anybody. So they partnered with the Neighborhood Housing Services. And Neighborhood Housing Services is another organization in New Haven that does neighborhood housing services. And they are able to find groups of people to do community service and service projects. And so today, this morning, at 9:00 this morning, 2 busloads of kids from Hopkins, the Hopkins school,
awesome,
showed up at my house this morning to help install this rain garden. It was 21 kids and 4 adults. 25 people in my yard digging. And I was like, oh, all of you can't dig the rain garden, but I've got a berm over here that has some weeds, and I've got a fairy garden that has some weeds. I put them to work all over my whole
first of all,
garden, and it's beautiful now.
You were over capacity. You had way too many children in that house.
They are not children.
I know.
They're almost adults.
That is awesome, though.
No, it was fantastic. It really was. So I even had some stuff on my porch that I need to put in my car so I could take it back to Home Depot. I was like, you guys look strong. Please come and help me take this floor.
I cannot.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. But the yard looks so good. They dug out a thing under our swing set. So now it's clear and I can just put some mulch down, which is better for underneath the swing set. They weeded the berm, which looked like
Get the rubber.
It looked like a forest.
Rubber mulch.
That's what I'm going to get.
It lasts forever and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Put a nice little border and you're good to go.
That's the plan. But I was stalling on getting the mulch because I had to do the digging.
Yeah.
Now the digging's done. So
that's awesome.
And then when they were done, again, there were too many kids. And so my kids in my program were so excited to see so many big kids, especially big boys, teenage boys. They were playing soccer with them. They were doing Legos in the garage. I mean, it was a really, really good time. And then even the head of Hopkins School, Dr. Bynum, stopped by. I was like, the head of the school is at my house. Like, I feel super fancy. It was really an exciting day.
That's awesome.
It was really an exciting day. And it made me feel, between this and a bunch of other things that have been going on in our house, it made me feel like our house is like running my household. Running my household is like running a business. And I didn't see it that way before. And James has been trying to tell me that for years. He's been trying to tell me that for years, and I literally never listened to him. But the last couple weeks, I've really felt like, holy shit, there are so many moving parts in here, and everybody turns to me. Candace, Miss Dorman. And I'm just like, first of all, she lives in Massachusetts. Like, Miss Dorman is not here. Mrs. Dorman. And it's just been such an eye-opening experience over the last couple weeks. Like, I didn't even tell you, I have a mom cave now. We finished our attic, and so now I have this clear space upstairs above my above the boys' room that has like brand new floors and like real walls and electricity. And they were in the house for 2 weeks, finishing this space. And at the same time, like 15 solar guys were outside putting solar panels up, and the daycare is running, and Susanna stopped by to clean the house. And then a couple of days later, we had this rain garden with 25 people outside. Like, this month has been so busy and so many moving parts, and that I'm coming out on the other side feeling like, holy shit, I just did that. You know what I mean? That I never before, I was just like, oh, I'm just in the house watching a couple kids. Like, you just don't give yourself the kind of credit that you deserve. Yeah. And if you take a second to, even if it's a physical thing that you have to do, list out all the things that you are doing. You will be so amazed
at what you do every day.
At what you're doing every day and over the course of the month. Mm-hmm. And you have to stop and take stock and give yourself credit for that shit.
Because you know what it is? There's always been a conception, right, that women belong in the house, that women are supposed to do chores, that women are supposed to clean the house and feed the kids and raise the kids and take care of the kids. But they don't realize that if you were to take all that work and put it into some sort of job, you would not
be able to afford that shit.
No, it would be like $160,000 job a year. Yes. And so,
it's a CEO. It's a CEO, or it's at least a COO. Like, it's something ridiculous.
It's a lot of work. And so you're right. There are
and
many
so many
components.
moms are also working outside of the house. So.
And so you need to give yourself credit where credit is due. But I wanted to tell you that, as far as the conserving and being part of that whole conservation movement. So the Regional Water Authority in New Haven was doing this program in where they would take these $130 barrels of water collecting barrels,
like a rain barrel.
And they were selling them for $60.
Oh wow!
So I ended up buying 2, and I got to pick them up at that location in New Haven on Saturday between 9 and 1. And then you come and you install them, and then you collect water, and now you have water on your plants.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would like a rain barrel.
Yeah.
1 or 2. I think there's a way for me. I don't know if it's from that program, but I think there's also a way. I also love that I now have this new, like, people think that I know how to find all the free stuff. Like, I have this new, I don't know what to call it. But, like, people think we're green. I mean, we are green, right? We have an electric car, and now we have solar panels. We are fucking green. But it's like this new persona that people are like, oh, Candace, you know how to find all the free shit. And I'm like, yes, I actually do know how to find all the free shit.
And, it takes a lot of digging, a lot of work. But, you do it. You just have to do it.
Do it. And so, anyway, that just had me thinking this week that last week we talked about undervaluing yourself and making sure that you speak to yourself properly. And this week I'm thinking about making sure that I am relying on myself, right? Or me and my partner, me and James, or relying on yourself to know what to do. And when you have a question, ask a question, right? If you have a question, but don't assume that other people know how to do it better than you can, because only you know how to navigate the world as you. Only you know how to manage your household with your family in it. Like, nobody else can come in and manage your kids the way you can, or your household the way that you can. And you have earned through whatever tears and stripes and whatever, you have earned the title of being like woman of that house or person of that house. And you should just lean into that shit hardcore, because even while you think that you are looking to other people to answer your questions, the people in your house are looking to you.
That's right.
They really are. So, like, one of the things I'm super proud of, like, did you notice?
You have a shirt on with your
can you all see this?
daycare's
I have a logo, okay?
Yeah.
I have a logo. So shout out to Sherry, my friend Sherry, who's been on the show before, who's now a graphic designer, okay? And again, lean into that shit. It doesn't matter if it started yesterday, 3 weeks, or 3 years ago. She's a graphic designer, and she made this bomb-ass logo for me. And I was so excited about it. I went out and bought a banner. I got new business cards. I got t-shirts. I was like, I'm legit now. Oh my God, I'm legit now. And so I'm wearing my shirt tonight, feeling like usually I'm wearing other people's stuff, right? Or I'm like promoting other people's stuff. And I feel like today it's me. It's us. I wish it had arrived in time for my gardening thing today, because we were taking a bunch of pictures, but it came after hours. It's fine. I'm still super excited about it. Shout out to Vistaprint, who we're not sponsored by, but Vistaprint has been killing it for like 30 years.
They do amazing work. All the business cards that we did when we first started our show, we actually did business cards.
Yeah.
So every time I met someone, hey, check out our show.
Yeah.
And all the show information right on the back.
Love it.
And it was all word of mouth when we started doing ours. And let me tell you, it took off like crazy.
I love it. I love it. So definitely don't be afraid to build your brand, whatever your brand is. This is the brand for my daycare.
Mm-hmm.
But like, lean into it hardcore. And I should say two things. It's important not to feel like if you don't have something like a logo or a website or whatever, that you can't start. Because a lot of times people feel like you can't start something until you have all of these things that make you legit.
No, you can build all that stuff gradually.
You can build it later.
I'll tell you.
I started with like word clip art, okay?
I'll tell you something I used to do. So we ordered, I think it was something like 4,000 small business cards.
Oh my God.
So we ended up getting like a whole bunch of them. So when we were in New York City, we would visit like all the gay establishments and go to, because ours is a gay show.
Yeah.
Right. And so we used to go into all the newsline articles that they keep in the bars and just stuff the cards in there. So
that's amazing.
So when you're opening the magazines, you see them in there, and then we would go and we would like pin them in the bathroom.
That's amazing.
And like leave them in the toilets. Oh, we would put them everywhere.
And you just have to have no shame.
No,
no shame.
Just do it. Anytime, like for example, somebody ordered a drink, we had coasters made so that when we were doing the bar here, we had cardboard coasters. We would literally put our show as a coaster for their drink. And then obviously when you pick up that drink,
you see it.
The cardboard gets stuck to it and you got to pull it out and you're like, oh, what's this? And so, yeah, we got creative, girl.
And you have to do that. And again, you listen to some people to get some really good ideas, but a coaster might not work for you as a daycare, right? Something else might work for you, but a coaster might work for you as a singer or if
you're selling something,
it might work for you that way.
Yeah.
But the point is that don't be afraid to come up with whatever kind of like wild and crazy idea that you think will help you get to where you need to be, and feel like, oh, well, I haven't seen anybody do it, so maybe it doesn't work. Or,
well, I'll give you an example. You are a daycare.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
They have magazines there.
That's
I
true.
would stuff a couple of business cards in there.
You're sitting in the thing.
Like literally, if you're sitting in the waiting room waiting, just start stuffing cards in magazines that they keep for people to look at. That's free advertisement.
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely free.
Oh my God.
It doesn't cost
I'm going to get calls
anything.
that are like, lady, where did these cards come from? I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me.
You bought the magazine. Why don't you ask the magazine?
That's amazing.
It's just a free way to do. There's so many things that you can do.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's awesome.
But I just think that a lot of times I am looking out. Even I have wanted to ask someone to be on the show for at least a couple months, right? I was like, oh, but she's so cool. She has a show. She's got a business. She's not going to want to be on my show. Like, she's too cool. And I've waited so long. And then this week I was like, I'm just going to ask her. And I wrote this long-winded thing, and I cut it and edited it so many times. And I finally sent it to her, and she goes, oh, sure, I'll be on your show. And I was like, what?
That's awesome.
it just was this like fear of someone else being like so much better than me, and why would they ever want to? And so I have to try so hard to get them to want to be on the show.
Or someone's just
That
saying
was not
no.
necessary.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've asked people.
No is okay. All right.
We've reached out to artists all the time, and we never either. Sometimes we don't get a
hear
response,
back,
and we just keep it moving. But but then you get those artists that do.
Yes.
And then
it feels good,
and it feels amazing.
I've actually started to reach out. I'm trying to grow the show beyond people that I know, like that I right now, everyone who's been on the show is either related to me or I used to work with or people that I know in a tight circle, because my circle is really fucking awesome.
And amazing.
And I love all of you. And so now I'm trying to get beyond that, beyond like to the next level. Maybe somebody that I know knows this person, or somebody that I don't know at all, to try and bring in a new perspective, just sort of widen the reach of the show.
One of the easiest ways, Twitter and Facebook.
Oh,
tweet someone, hey, DM them.
I gotta figure out Instagram is what
That's
I gotta do.
how we got Melissa Etheridge on the show.
Ooh, very cool.
So when Pulse happened, it was very sad and it was very great. And actually, the 3-year anniversary of the massacre at Club Pulse is coming up on June 12th. When that happened, we were distraught as a community, and Melissa Etheridge had written a song. And so one of our listeners tweeted us and said, hey, have you heard Melissa's song Pulse? You should play it on your show. And so we responded, that would be amazing, but we don't have licensing rights to do that. And so we can't play it on the show. Well, her moderator was watching our Twitter feed while we were talking, because they kept tagging Melissa. And she was like, you absolutely have permission to play that on the show. And of course, me being the person that I am, I'm like, can I get that in writing? And she goes, sure. What's the email? So she emailed the publishing company. They sent over the song, the file, the permission, the slip to use it. And then we started playing the song. And then 2 weeks later, I got bold and emailed them back and said, what are the chances that we can get Melissa on the show to talk about the song and the experience of writing it? And they were like, oh, let's see what we can do. We didn't hear anything for about 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden we got a phone call, and they were like, you can have her tomorrow for 20 minutes at 1:20.
That's amazing.
p.m. We all left our jobs.
Yeah.
We all left our jobs. No, I got to go home. I'll be right back. I was so nervous, I almost forgot to hit record.
Oh my God.
And so she ended up coming on our show, and it was amazing. So you just never know.
Shoot. You guys just got to shoot your shot.
Yeah. Just listen, just ask. Never,
Whatever
ever.
The thing is.
It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to do something, if you want to see someone, if you want something, you ask for it. And you're going to get one of two answers, a yes or a no.
Or a maybe. And maybe is almost a yes.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world. If they don't, you move on to the next thing. And hopefully, but just don't forget that you are boss. You are amazing, and you can do so many great things.
It's so true.
And I do have to say that about you. You're boss.
I know, right? Like, pop your collar. But like, honesty moment. I feel like I've spent a lot of time over the last probably 10 years waiting for someone to tell me how to do something, because I don't want to do it wrong, right? I don't want to write it wrong. I don't want to say it wrong. I don't want to do it wrong. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah, right.
And it hasn't gotten me to the place that I want to be. And I feel like in the last year,
take control, baby girl.
I've gotten further.
Take control,
right?
baby
Like
girl.
I've gotten further in the last year than I had in the last 10 years, waiting for somebody to tell me what to do.
You launched a business in the past 2 years. You've launched a business. You've launched a podcast. You're killing it.
It's pretty
hashtag
exciting.
Mom So Hard.
Mom So Hard all the way. Yeah, it's cool, and it's ever evolving, right? And it's just like I was watching something that I was watching a Michelle Obama interview that I love her, right? Who doesn't love her? But she just talks about becoming, right? That's what her book was about. You're just supposed to always be becoming. And I think before I thought, when I get to a certain age, or when I do a certain thing, or when I get married, that like then I'll be whatever the thing is. Right. And I thought it was a like a destination that you arrive at. And only in this last year that I'm realizing that it's not a destination that you arrive at. It's the cheesy journey, right? It's the journey.
Everything in between.
It's everything in between. It's appreciating every night that the kid like angers himself and throws up, or every morning that they give you a hug, or, you know, every win that you have, or every like fun saucy night you have with your spouse. Like all of those things, they add up. And if you take a second to look back, even if you have to do it daily or weekly,
Right.
to catalog those things, like the whole gratitude movement, the whole like taking a second to think about what are the things that you're grateful for today, whatever those one or two things are, or the week or the month or the whatever, just take a second to catalog them, because we spend so much time every day in the grind of just trying to make it through the day that we don't realize that not only did we make it through the day, but we actually fucking killed the day.
Yeah, like
right?
who buys Oreos just for the cookies? Like, really? You want some of that filling? You want those in between moments. Who buys a Twinkie for just like, you know, the cake?
I didn't know what you were talking about.
You know, you need that
both.
filling. You need both. You need all of it. So you need the journey and you need the end game.
That's
you know?
so true. That's
so
true.
It's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about this week. And the other thing that I don't have enough information on because I haven't watched it, but James keeps telling me that I need to read the book Think and Grow Rich. Have you read that book?
Think and Grow Rich.
No, Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
No, I have not read the book.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's next
most
on my
people
list.
know this, but typically when I read, I take naps between paragraphs, so it takes me a very long time to get through a book.
Well, maybe try the audiobook.
Well, yeah, that's something that I want to start getting into. Like, we had one of our good friends, he's an author, actually, some of the promo on the back, Hans M. Hershey, who wrote a saga. It's a trilogy, sci-fi trilogy saga, right there, the Golden One, and there's three different books. One of them, the last one comes out in September. And so I promised him that I would read him. I have read a couple of his other books.
You're like, I'm gonna.
But it took me forever. But now he's got audio versions of the books. So for those of you who would like to, and could, the Golden One basically is one of those like Twilight type of books where it's like geared towards a specific, you know, like young adult to adult. And they're great books. He's a great writer. So
I like young adult, like they're dramatic. They're so fucking dramatic.
What he does really well is that he ties into a lot of current environmental aspects of what's going on environmentally in the world today with a lot of what he writes.
Nice.
And so he uses that, you know, as some sort of element
like
in the books.
Theme, an underlying theme. That's great. That's great. I haven't read a book in a while. I have Michelle Obama's book, and it's beautiful. It looks good on my nightstand,
of course,
or like my coffee table where it is, but I haven't read it yet. Probably because I have the physical book and not the audio. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
But at least you have it. You
That's
made an
true.
effort to support something and someone that, you know, is worth supporting.
Amazing.
She is. I absolutely love her.
Goals.
That's right.
Anyway, so let's wrap up because I could. I think I'm good. This whole thing was weighing on me this week, and I just wanted to get it off my chest. So I feel like I've done that, and we're under time. So you're welcome.
I love you.
I know. Thanks.
Aww.
Love you too.
So all right. So do you have a hashtag Mom So Hard tip of the week?
Do I? I think the Mom So Hard tip of the week is to be aware of what things are going on in your town, in your city, especially if you live in a city. Like people are always trying to shit talk New Haven, but like I am winning in New Haven, like winning so hard. It's amazing. So keep an eye out for what kinds of programs are happening in your town.
211.
211 is a good thing.
That's
it's
right.
a national thing.
Yep.
That you can find
line.
information. The 211 hotline or whatever. I think if you just dial 211 from your phone, it'll tap you into your local 211. But especially if you live in a city, especially if you live around New Haven, there's so many programs, so many things available that are meant to enhance the city and enhance everyone and are available to everyone. So don't be afraid don't be afraid to look around your town and see what they're giving out, because like, who doesn't like some free shit? I love it.
Agreed.
We are keeping a tally. Actually, we're keeping a tally of how many free things we get, and our like number is pretty fucking high. It's like $35,000. Like, it's
That's
insane.
A lot. Yeah.
It's insane. So it's it could basically be a second job, right? The amount of things that you can find that are available to you depending on who you are. We are homeowners, so a lot of the stuff comes to homeowners, but like parents, moms, dads, businesses. There's so many programs for small businesses, new businesses, first time but home buyers. Even if you're looking into getting a rental property, there's so many
urban cities have an incentive to make sure that they keep people in the city, right? Because it keeps them paying taxes, etc. And it also allows for the city to actually remain active and not have people, sort of kind of leaving because that creates vacancies.
And New Haven is thriving. So come on to New Haven if you're looking for somewhere cool to live.
That's right.
That's all I got for the week. So come back next week and every week after. We've got so many shows. This is episode 58.
That's right.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's episode 58. So there's plenty of things to binge on. All kinds of things we talk about here regarding parenting and lifestyle. So find us on all the places where you find us. Share us with your friends so that other people can find us. And something I haven't asked for recently, but could use, is please go on to any of those platforms and rate us and review. Yes, that's what it is. Rate and review, because it helps other people find the show. So
that's right.
Thank you so much for all of your support, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.